Mobile marketing in China, now this is thoughtful. Hello, I'm Kitty Boo in Shanghai. China is the world's largest mobile phone market with over 900 million subscribers. Everyone from moguls to maids has one, and they use their phones for everything from social media to search to shopping. Marketers should be flocking to phones, but mobile gets about 1% of total ad spend in China today. We'll find out why this week on Thoughtful China, and our experts will tell you how mobile could be helping your brands right now. And our own PT Black will look at a few factors that make China a unique mobile market. But first, with us is Patrick Moorhead, VP of Mobile Sales at Catalina Marketing. Patrick, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Help me to understand one thing. The figure 1%, maybe 1.5% of ad spending in China. Why is this figure so low?
It's a great question. It's a question that we're struggling with as well. When you look at the amount of time that consumers spend on their mobile devices globally, and you look at the way that marketers are allocating budgets, there's a significant gap between the amount of money being spent against the mobile channel and other channels in the marketing mix. So I think one way to look at it is that it would be an indication that over the next 5 to 8 years, there will be a radical kind of readjustment of how marketers are spending their money to try to tap into this increasing amount of smartphone and mobile phone use.
So how does this figure compare to, say, markets like Europe or America?
We see this as kind of a global phenomenon. In general, I think mobile is underfunded compared to the amount of time that consumers are spending with it. The time spent on mobile phones varies by country when you look at it, but roughly 20% of consumers' daily time spent with media is spent on their phones, and you see that increase when you look at smartphone consumers. So there's a huge opportunity to connect brands with consumers on the mobile channel that seems to be not being tapped into at the moment when you look at the way that marketers are spending their money.
Well, you've done global research about how consumers use phones to buy stuff, right? So
Yes.
Tell me what's different about China compared to, say, markets like Japan or
Well, that's a
Europe.
great question. China is really sitting in kind of a neat opportunity, one, because of its scale, and two, because as of today, it's fairly underpenetrated with smartphones compared to some other countries in the world. You look at parts of Europe, you look at Canada and North America, we're starting to see 50, even 60% of consumers that own a mobile phone possessing a smartphone, which has the ability to do kind of very computer-like things, search, scan barcodes, camera, downloadable applications and things like that. So the projections in China are that the next 3 to 5 years you'll see kind of a massive growth into consumer adoption of smartphones. And I think that's, paired with the marketing spending behavior that you mentioned earlier, creates a really interesting opportunity for brands in China to start to tap into the power of the mobile phone on an individual basis.
Mobile phone can clearly connect consumers with brands, and then there's been a lot of loyalty programs, different CRMs or alerts sent out to consumers. So what are the tips to make these strategies work in a way that doesn't come across as spam?
Our research shows that consumers are actually very willing to hear from brands via alerts or push messages or text messages or location alerts, provided that they're getting a good deal of value out of that. Saving me money, getting me exclusive offers, getting me exclusive first look access to things like media or shopping experiences, and being preferential to the tastes of the consumer that you're communicating with. All of that requires a kind of sophistication on the part of marketers, which is much more difficult than just blasting messages out to everyone in your database. So I think to really be successful, it's kind of hammering on getting to know your consumers in a very micro-segmented kind of way, and really then figuring out ways to drive value to them via the phone that's a different kind of value than they're getting from traditional shopping and advertising channels.
Here's a question about barcodes from Laura Quinring, one of our LinkedIn group members. She asks, do people like scanning barcodes, and why?
We see barcode scanning globally growing in popularity quite a bit for a number of reasons. I think the reason that people like scanning barcodes is it provides them with a level of information in the moment that they're trying to make a purchase decision, which they previously kind of didn't have access to. If you think about kind of a non-phone enabled shopping journey, you really had to probably do a lot of research about products you were going to buy in advance, or you just make your best guess when you're at the shelf. You kind of look at some pretty packaging, or maybe you try to read and understand the ingredients and you make your choice based on that. Scanning a barcode or a QR code does give you the possibility of getting much more detailed information, including consumer reviews. And we know that social media and the way that other consumers talk about products is one of the big driving factors in purchase decision. So the phone allows people to tap into those other resources, and the code, we think of it as just a gateway, in the same way that putting a URL on a package used to be a gateway to getting more information, or even an 800 number. The code is just today's version of the gateway, and the way to make it effective is to really understand that it's not so much the gateway, it's what you put behind the gateway. If you make a door open to a closet, it's not nearly as exciting as if you make a door open to an amusement park.
Let's look at the location-based services. What is the next big trend that could be coming to China?
Yeah, I think the next big trend is going to be location services, and I think it's that combination of kind of hyper-relevancy and relevancy that's triggered not by the brand wanting to talk to the consumer, but the communication being triggered by the consumer based on where they go in their daily life. If you think about location as being the context of a message, it has the potential to be so much more impactful. You can include things like the time of day, the weather conditions that day, the day of week, the location of that particular person, their proximity to other stores or other products, and all of that can be used to craft really uniquely specific, personalized messages, which we know are the more successful way to talk to people on their phone.
Thanks, Patrick, for coming to our show.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Now we'll hear from PD Black with a thought or two about what makes China a unique mobile market.
When it comes to mobile, China is the global champion. The numbers here are staggering. It has the most mobile subscribers, the most mobile internet users, and now the largest smartphone market in the world. But China is unique for more than its size. First of all, operators here play a background role. Choices are limited. 2/3 of subscribers are held by China Mobile, the other 1/3 split between Unicom and Telecom. There isn't a huge range of service packages, there is no such thing as an unlimited data plan, and overall internet access is pretty expensive. This is partially due to the limit stemming from the massive user base, and partially due to the less than cutthroat competition. But the diversity of devices more than makes up for it. The market here is packed with options, with a broad range of prices which are set by manufacturer. So basic phones can be had for $50, but smartphones can be daunting priced indeed. An iPhone 4S currently costs almost $800 for 16 gigabytes, and over $1,000 for the 64 gigabytes. That'll be cash, thank you. With initial layout this steep, is it any wonder marketing dollars are used to talk screen resolution, not services, or that teens are worried about running up a bill? Finally, China's mobile universe is marked by its unique status as a country truly in development. Some parts of the market behave like the first world, other parts are very much like the third world, but everyone is sharing the same networks, which are alternately accused of being overpriced and under-resourced. So what does it mean for marketers? Diverse device market, sluggish operator support, and cost sensitivity when it comes to services. Now multiply by 1 billion. Have fun.
Thanks, PT. With me now is Mikim Shikli, Chief Innovation Officer of Zenith Optimedia China, Dan Wang, Chief Operating Officer of Madhouse, and Alvin Wang Grayling, CEO and founder of MInfo. Welcome to the show. Well, Patrick Moorhead was just in our studio earlier, and he mentioned the next wave of digital marketing in China will be a super cocktail of location-based services, shopper marketing, as well as mobile, all working together. Do you agree with him?
Given that actually our business in almost all those areas, I would have to agree. Not because I'm biased, but actually the reason we've gone into those spaces is because we really feel like the future of marketing is integrating multiple media together, in particular using mobile as the core piece that ties it all together, because it's the only device that is always with you 24/7, and it's the only device that can get your attention at any time and you respond to it.
But it's interesting because 900 million subscribers, but only 1%, let's talk about this figure, 1% of ad spend in China. Why?
Yeah, this is very, a slow growing area. We heard that each year is going to be the mobile year, but we are all waiting for this year since 10 years now. So actually, I think, going back to your question, what is very interesting is the relationship between the virtual world that we can have with this device and the real world to experience in a different way, the way of shopping. So this is very interesting.
But there's a very, very big disconnect, right? Almost all the metrics you look at, user numbers, traffic, cost, ROI, it would seem to you that most advertisers would use a lot more mobile as a marketing channel. But I think that the truth of the matter today is it's still less than 1% in terms of the budget spent. So I think kind of, you know, a lot of the advertisers we talk to, I think on a very logical level, I think they understand it. But I think the change is going to happen when that goes from the mind to the heart. They really feel the need. They really start thinking that mobile is a truly strategic channel. And I think this is a process, takes some time. And you know, I think kind of what the industry needs is a couple showcases, a couple brands starting to really take this seriously. And I think that's going to lead others to then follow as well. But right now, mobile marketing is very, very underutilized.
Yeah, I tend to agree with this, but I think there's also probably a few other reasons why the way the things are the way they are. In fact, it's because it's small that it's not getting attention. Because for somebody who's spending money on media, I could spend 60% on TV, and essentially you get one vendor and take care of it. Or I have to spend 1%, spend as much effort managing this vendor to spend that 1% as I do to spend that 60%. And then if there's sometimes the attention span from the agencies aren't there, as well as the understanding of how to utilize all the technologies, because mobile is one of those areas that has a lot of different facets, and it could be anything from messaging to Wi-Fi to Bluetooth to 2D barcode to near-field communications, so forth. And a lot of traditional agencies and even digital agencies don't understand how to utilize all these technologies together to give the impact to the brand.
So in your opinion, advertising agencies actually don't know how to utilize mobile then?
Yeah, I think they're getting better. And I think kind of they're trying to put more resources. And I think if you talk to lots of whether it's agencies or even brands themselves, I think there's actually not a lot of people who are focused on mobile. And I agree with what Alan was saying, is that it's actually very, very complicated. All these acronyms and words, and sometimes we talk to customers and their eyes glaze over. They don't know what this is, and so how do you choose? So I think they are getting better. I think there's an awareness that it's going to be becoming more and more important. And so agencies, brands themselves are starting to build a bit more of their expertise. And I think that's going to help kind of take out some of this perceived complexity out of it. But I think it's still a process. I think there's a lot that still needs to happen before we really see this really scaling in a large level.
I think the problem is that we haven't cracked, all the industry together, something very huge to prove the real efficiency, because we are focusing on the old model. We need to focus on the new model, and I think the opportunity here is to directly jump in a pay-on-earn model, natively, and I always say that for me, marketing directors are dead, and long live the content director. So if they change their standpoint, then content, you can put whatever you want inside content. Storytelling or engaging the conversation with the consumer and bringing new breed of services that really bring the consumer to activate the brand, in a daily life standpoint. And this is the key. And there is no trigger here right now because people haven't cracked it yet. And when you propose new area and new things to do, you kind of, I don't know. So maybe the best way to take it, going back to the first question, is the shopper way. Because I think it's the great tool to help people to shop in a smarter way. And maybe advertising agency wants to crack it in an advertising way. What kind of big idea we need to create and create the thing that will change? No, I think we need to take it back from where the consumer here is and what he wants to do with this device to interact with a brand or a product. This is the opportunity.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I completely agree. I think it's actually the structure of the current agency, the creative, the media buying agency, having the separate planning cycles, having most of the interactive digital coming in later in the process versus the early in the actual creative process, and separating buying from the actual creative. I think that's actually one of the reasons why it hasn't gone to spend. Because we actually see a lot of brands coming to us now and they're saying, hey, I have one of these things, why aren't we doing more things on this? You have marketing directors and marketing managers who all have smartphones now. I don't know anybody who's a white collar doesn't have a smartphone. And so they're now actually coming back and talking to their agencies to do more. And we're now signing the direct deals with some of the brands because they say, hey, our agencies don't know what to do here. So can you be like a separate person that gives us extra expertise in this particular area? And what they want to do is actually bring the whole process of how to get digital, how to get mobile, how to get traditional media, all as part of the initial creative process. So it's not just some guy in a turtleneck and a black glasses says, oh, I think this is the big idea, and then you guys go make it happen, right? And that's separating the two doesn't make sense. I think it makes sense for you to say, what is the objective from the brand? How can I achieve that? And what are all the possible tools I can use? And how do they work together to create an integrated solution?
So what kind of common marketing programs are they using now?
I don't think they're doing very common. That's the problem. Everybody's doing on a separate arm, and they have different media buying agencies for doing different things, and everybody's trying to get a piece of the budget. So it's about your clout, about how well do you know the marketing people, and how well do you know the agency, how well do you know the media people, and be able to get the best deal versus getting the best results for the client, right? It's really, which one's going to get us the most rebate? Which one's going to give us the biggest discount? Which one, do I know well and I can get the deal signed in 2 weeks instead of 2 months, right? It's a little too business oriented versus the real objective of serving the brand and getting the impact to the users and to the actual business bottom line.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think there's just a big gap between, I think, what you're describing is how you can use mobile versus what we're seeing today, because lots of the stuff we're seeing today is very, very simple stuff. Take a bit of budget, just play some ads on some mobile websites, play some ads on an application. Make me a mobile application. Mm-hmm. Very, very simple things, and I think it's also very, very campaign-based thinking. Yeah. I have a burst, and that, I'm done, even when you make an application, right, which should be, right, always on your phone and persistent. That's why you're doing it. But I think the way the mentality goes is it's, okay, 1 month, done. Okay, let's go to the next thing. Yeah. And I think the real power of mobile that has not yet been leveraged is really a longer-term tool. Think about it as, there's very few people doing CRM on mobile. And think about it, this is with you all the time. It's your phone number, it's your communications tool, right? So I think kind of right now the things that we're seeing are very, very simple.
Well, I have a question actually from a viewer on LinkedIn for today's show. This is from Nishta Mehta, who wants to hear your views on the role mobiles is starting to play in making content. For example, Shanghai Media Group's new entertainment program, Date on Saturday, has its own mobile app, allowing mobile viewers to interact with their TV shows, including live chats with celebrities on the show. So are we going to see more integration with entertainment and content making companies like this?
Actually, we do some interactions with various traditional media as well. So TV things is one of those type of things, and with cameras and video cameras and microphones, you can do a lot of multimedia on your phone and be able to instantly respond to them with SMS. You can use MMS. You can go on their website. You can download the app. So there's a lot of ways to do that, and it's the one device that's always with you.
Well, Alvin and Mikim and Dan, thank you very much for being on Thoughtful China today. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps it up for today. Be sure to subscribe to us on Tudo and YouTube. You can also follow us on Weibo and Twitter and join our LinkedIn group. Also, don't forget to sign up for Market to Watch, Building Brands Beyond Tier 1 in China, a conference organized by Thoughtful China and Advertising Age in Shanghai on September 5th. Some of the country's top marketing experts will share insights about how to grow your business in China's markets beyond the first tier. For the first time, EdAge will bring its Women to Watch Awards to China with an awards dinner on the same day. We hope you'll join us in honoring some of the marketing industry's most promising female professionals. Further details are available now on edage.com and thoughtfulchina.com. We hope to see you there.